section of the Introduction to Kabbalah and Chassidus by Rabbi Gershon Chenech Leiner of Radzin. He is the author, I am the translator and announcer. He lived, he passed away in the 1890s, I think 1892. And now it's 2009 and I'm in Jerusalem, very early in the morning. Why wisdom is more valuable than evil? It's written in the Zohar, since Shlomo HaMelech inherited the moon in its state of completeness, fullness, he needed to inherit the moon in its state of deficiency. He strove to understand the forces of evil in order to inherit the moon in all its aspects. For this reason, in the days of Shlomo HaMelech, the moon shone in all of its aspects. And in the Tikkun Zohar, we find clearly the Holy One, blessed be He, and His Shekhinah, His indwelling presence, have not changed. God and the Shekhinah have not changed. Yet from an outside perspective, they do change. That is to say, in this world, they are concealed in layers of garments and shells. There are forces that conceal godliness, and that's what we call, from our perspective, it's changing God. From God's perspective, of course, God has not changed whatsoever. It says, I am God, I have not changed. The Zohar continues and said, this is why Shlomo Melech said in the Song of Songs, chapter 7, verse 11, I descended to the ego's garden, I descended to the nut garden. Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, had a complete knowledge of the forces that were concealing godliness, what we call the klipot. He had a complete knowledge of the shells, the husks. His acquaintance with the shells and husks, from now on we're going to use the word klipot. His acquaintance, King Solomon's acquaintance and intimate knowledge of the klipot gave him a thorough knowledge of all forms of sorcery and witchcraft. The faithful shepherd, meaning Moses, the soul of Moshe Rabbeinu, will break all of the klipot, bringing forth the essence which the shell conceals, meaning the tetragrammaton, the four-letter name of God, the ineffable name of God. The faithful shepherd will break all of the klipot and bring forth the essence which the shell conceals, which is God's four-letter name. In the Zohar we find another passage that will elucidate our point. The Zohar says, quotes Kohelet. Kohelet is also King Solomon. Ecclesiastes in English, in Greek. So in Kohelet it says, and I saw the superiority of wisdom from folly. From folly itself emerges something that is actually a benefit to wisdom. If it were not for the existence of folly, wisdom and all its extensions would not be known. We have learned that together with wisdom, it is incumbent upon man to learn something of folly. For in knowing it, it actually benefits his wisdom. The Radzin Rebbe explains that, in fact, the knowledge of folly, nonsense, or evil is a component of none other than the mystery of faith. It is written in the Zohar in Parshat Bo, it is proper for man to know good and to know evil, and to consciously choose the good, and to return himself to the good. This is the mystery of faith. The more one can find the good hidden in evil, the more he will understand how God created one over against the other, in the words of King Solomon. This is as it is said in the Zohar. Rabbi Akiva said, what did Shlomo Melech say? why did King Solomon say, I descended to the Ego's garden, to the nuts garden? This is just as we say he descended, he went down to the Merkavah, the chariot of divine mysteries. Why does he go down to the mysteries, to the chariot? Rabbi Akiva asks, what does the shell of the egos, the nut, which is actually discarded, represent? So the Zohar answers, just as a nut has a shell which surrounds the fruit, or the inner essence, so it is with everything that possesses Kedusha, sanctity. Where the Kedusha, the sanctity, is inside, and the force of evil surrounds it from the outside. So, just to summarize, wisdom is more valuable than evil. Then the Zohar teaches us that there is something of folly that benefits wisdom. Because if it wasn't for the nonsense and the evil and the folly, then wisdom and goodness and all of the extensions would not be known. So, actually a person needs to know something about folly, nonsense, in order to know wisdom. It is proper for man to know good, to know evil, and return himself to the good. This is the mystery of faith.